Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, this time with the F-104 ASA. Now, in being an F-104, a lot of you likely already know how this thing plays, even if you don't have it researched yourself. The F-104 is the world's fastest pencil, and in being so, with its stubby little wings, it isn't really a dogfighter, or doesn't really turn at all for that matter. You're basically a big rocket with 4 missiles strapped onto you to shoot at other people. Luckily, the missiles that you do have access to are in contention for being the best in the game in their category. The AIM-9L is an absolute monster that you basically can't flare, and I'll talk about the radar missile later. We've reached a point in time where your avionics and weapon systems can carry your airframe even if it's absolute garbage. The F-104 is by no means good, but because you have such good weapons, I honestly believe it's the 5th best plane in the game. Below, you know, Tomcat J-7E Mirage 2000 MLD. Maybe not in that particular order, but that's my rough top 5 right now. I'm locking up this F5 so I don't shoot a missile there. That was a bad launch. You didn't see anything. I launch at this F5 now that I'm close enough, and he's not going to be able to flip. Okay, buddy. Yeah, the F5 actually has some of the coldest engines at top tier, so it's like the 1 in a million times that the AIM-9L can actually be flared from rear aspect. Unfortunately, the F5 plays airfield NASCAR for the rest of the game, but with my immense thrust, I'm actually able to outrun the airfield SAMs, just barely getting out of the way. A key feature of the F-104 is that it's supersonic and well above it. I mean, duh, but when you're the only platform with AIM-9Ls, at least currently, this may change within the next patch, you're able to launch these things from way farther out than, say, your Harrier GR7 or, God forbid, A-10 would ever be able to get off. That dude doesn't even realize I'm here, and the AIM-9L easily has enough range to go out and hit him because of it. One thing that helps a lot of the time in the Starfighter is that you basically never lose your speed. This thing is so light for its engine, and because you're not really turning, you're not bleeding much either. You can chase down people like this MLD, and 10 times out of 10, this missile is going to hit. On the deck, the Starfighter can cruise around on full afterburner at around Mach 1.15. However, this also is fast enough and lets you pull enough Gs that you can rip your wingtips off in a flat turn. I didn't realize this before I started playing it, but it sure as hell is not known for turning, so I didn't really expect it. However, it doesn't count you as dead, or at least it didn't in this instance, so I was still able to fire off my AIM-9Ls and score 2 kills on people who didn't even see it coming with how much range that these missiles have. I'm starting to sound like a broken jukebox, but these really are such amazing missiles, you can't go wrong with them. In the F-104, you'd expect that the best way to play it is to climb, and I'm not gonna say it isn't. But I was finding a lot of success just rushing on the deck, trying to get off all my missiles as fast as possible. Being all aspect, it really helps you in acquiring locks, so you can just kind of fire them off one by one, racking up multi-kills that you wouldn't really be able to do in other planes. After getting off a good handful of missiles and zooming away from this Harrier, I check my surroundings and everything's in the clear. I turn around so I can go engage the other enemies around here, especially F-14 since their engines are so hot. I line up a missile shot. Yeah, there was a gaggle of A-10s behind me and they just didn't go spotted for some reason. It's awesome. The only downside of the AIM-9L is that it has a long burn time, letting people see the missile indicator for longer. However, when you take shots like this, where you're nearly supersonic, and just shoot it off at like 5 kilometers, most of the time people aren't even paying attention, and you'll be able to nab kills on them. Other than the AIM-9L, the A-SPIDE radar missile is a whole nother monster of its own. It's debatable whether it's the best in the game between it and the AIM-7F. I personally prefer the AIM-7, but the A-SPIDE is like you took an AIM-7E2 or a Skyflash, and put it on crack. Which, I mean, makes sense because it was developed from the AIM-7E design. I try and queue up another radar shot here, but I have the wrong missile selected, and he ends up flaring my AIM-9L instead, which is all aspect, but it's pretty much a gimmick. Now, Guys, I know it's really funny to turn around for the first person you see, but like, come on, I'm in a faster platform. There's no reason that you need to be 180ing for me when I'm gonna outrun you every day of the week. It's super annoying, and all it does is delay the match and make it not fun for you and the person you're chasing. Especially when I'm obviously paying attention like I am. I'm looking at his missiles and actively flaring him. I don't know what he expects. Oh god. My favorite combination of missiles is 3 AIM-9Ls and 1 Espide. However, if you want to use the radar missile, the targeting block for it replaces your gun. And that gun, being an M61 Vulcan, can actually be a pretty decent tool for you to fall back on. Now, I stick to the deck for the most part because the F-104 doesn't have directional radar warning receiver. In real life, they would use radar jamming, but we don't have that in War Thunder. So instead, you just get to suffer. You have your privileged US pilots who are like, oh no, there's somebody on my 3 o'clock. I gotta turn to the left a little bit to notch this missile. Meanwhile, the F-104 ASA is like, ah yes, there are radars somewhere. After getting that kill, I only have 1 AIM-9L left, and I have to use it wisely, as I can't get caught with my pants down, because I'd like to remind you that I don't have a gun. This F-14 sprays at me, but he's not even close, and this second F-14 gets absolutely smoked by my teammate and turns into a fireball. I one-flare this AIM-9H, as it's not the hardest thing in the world to flare, as long as you know to cut your afterburner. I launch my last missile at this F-14, and he's just barely able to flare it, getting with like an inch of the proxy fuse being able to go off. And then, seeing as I have no way to fight, I just go back to base and the match ends. Finally, with a full AIM-9L loadout into a new match, I notice an F-14 shooting off a bunch of Phoenix missiles. You would never be able to do this in any other platform really, but with the long range of the AIM-9L and the high speed of the F-104, at a 5.5 kilometer launch, that thing is able to climb its way into space and find its target. This could have left me vulnerable to AIM-7s, but I was confident enough that nobody was close enough to me to be able to shoot one off before I could get back down to the deck. A Viggen actually team kills the F-5C I was going to go after, and then I have no clue where the Viggen went. Fortunately, an F-4J pops up in front of me, and I'm going to try and shark attack him with my AIM-9L. I wait for him to launch a missile so that he's distracted, and when I do, he's not even paying attention and gets absolutely annihilated. I extend a little bit, and then I notice this F-4J above me. With 2 AIM-9Ls left, I'm going to try and pitch up for him, but I just don't have the authority. That's all for this video. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed it, as I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers soon, so it would help me out a lot. Additionally, there's my communities, both the Patreon if you'd like to support me directly, or the Discord server if you'd like to join a growing community of active War Thunder players, both of which are in the video description. Other than that, that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.